Hey, Jessica. We're up to 96. Can you believe it?
I was talking about it with a friend before, and I'm just like, for something, and I say this every episode, but it's like, we just plan to just do one. Yeah. 96 later.
I know. Also, we need to talk. Number one thing, forget our weeks. Let's talk the Oscars and let's talk choosing sides. Let's talk what everyone's done, how the stories stopped and changed.
It's so annoying now, isn't it? It's like a song that just gets dropped and then it gets played repeatedly and you're just like, all right. Like
so I'm clearly on my man Chris Rock's side. And whose side are you on, Jess?
I'm on Will Smith's side.
Let's talk about it.
Well, the thing is, it's funny when you were taking, time to log on. I was just on Facebook and Lab Bible, I think it's called, has this like video. I was about to watch it, but then you came on, but it has like Jada's like reaction for like Will slapping. I'm keen to see that. But for me, it's kind of like when it happened, I'm just like, yeah, it's at the Oscars, blah, blah, blah. They shouldn't have Oscars or Academy Awards to begin with, setting people up against. But I guess, it's something to live up to. I don't know. I would have been Marlon Brando-ing that shit and just be like, nah, I refuse your award. Next minute, I'm up there and I'm like, I like to thank James for doing this podcast with me.
And then it turned into a feature film and won Best Picture.
It is the greatest moment of my life. Oh, God. But yeah. I watch Red Table Talk, as you know. So yeah. I knew from the get-go when she was getting alopecia and all this, that, and everything. But it's not the first time Chris Rock has taken a dig. It's not the first time Chris Rock has taken a dig out of Jada. How can you take Chris Rock's side? Who do you think you are, James?
Oh my God, Jess. Who are you? Who's taking over your body? Let's just
Violence is not the answer.
Yeah, exactly. Violence is not the answer. And I just don't understand Will Smith. He's such a genuine, nice guy. Well, that's what he's perceived as in my idea, in my head. And 100% yell at him, heckle him from the crowd. That's allowed in like when someone's doing a stand-up. In comedy, they do roast and people roast you. They make fun of you.
Here's the thing, though, yeah? Here's the thing.
It's just like
Americans, and I will stereotype and say it, because there's different humor in the world, of course.
They roast.
American humor is they just go to you're fat, you're this, you're that. Even though and then you get Ricky. The funny thing is that Ricky Gervais, of all the times, is like, of all the moments he could have gotten slapped, he never got slapped. But he was on the defense of, I wouldn't have made that comment. And there's apparently, you don't know what's happening behind closed doors, of course, but they've had a long relationship. And I don't see, if I go bald and you, as a woman, and you can stereotype, and even as a man, like Matt Smith, who's that guy, that actor, the bald guy from that British TV show, that comedy. I can't remember for the life of me. Is it Matt Smith?
Sorry. Maybe, yeah, I think you might be right.
But he's got alopecia, and he, like the people with alopecia, and I never realized that it's kind of like vitiligo when your skin turns like white but yeah, they all stood up and was like, that's unacceptable. But she's been quite public about it. Like, that's a public couple. And they discuss everything, like, as people know, like, and I literally thought it was a joke. And I think everyone was like,
I thought it was staged to get ratings.
I don't think
that's what I honestly felt. And then I was like, actually, no, this is either really, really great acting or it's
like Oscar worthy. But it was then it's going on, and Chris Rock got emotional, this, that, and everything in his stand-up. Just, all right, he made a mistake, whatever. Violence is not the answer. If he had stormed off, I mean, he got asked to get escorted out. He didn't do it.
No, he didn't. That's
Okay.
come out, and that's a lie. The Academy's
Of
doing that to
course. Of course it freaking is, isn't it? Because the media is just like, let's just make a mountain out of an ant.
Chris Rock's like declined because the police apparently were gonna arrest him. I just like,
it's become ridiculous.
I think though at the beginning though, I think we are going down a fine line of I think, was the joke funny to begin with? No, I didn't laugh at it.
Jokes, if you're receiving a joke, yeah, if I'm telling you a joke about you, and if you take offense to it, and if I'd be like, yeah, but it's just a joke. But if the person that's receiving the joke does not find it funny and finds it offensive, it is offensive.
Yeah, I know. But I also believe in like, what's the word? If someone makes a comment about me, just so happens to be about my appearance, about something that I can't change, about my sexuality, and I don't find it funny and I take offense to it, I think that we live in an age where I don't need to come up to stage and slap you about it. I think I come in the age where afterwards I could say, I didn't find that funny, and this is the reasons I didn't find it funny.
I think honestly,
like I don't think
would have
me
really
slapping
affected
is
her.
right. Yeah.
I would have done it.
You would have slapped the person.
Maybe not at the Oscars, but in the heat of the moment, I would have been like, if you had a rational mind, right?
I think slapping someone sets out that you're just as out of control as their mouth, if that makes sense.
But at the same time, they had to, if you're going to tell a joke, at least do your research. Yeah, this was just, but jokes are jokes, right? At the end of the day, he said sorry. I can understand if he didn't say sorry and he's just a complete prick. And he seems to be, who knows what's going on behind closed doors or what's being said, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was very like, even Will Smith's mother came out. I don't know. This is like the press, but it was just like, it's uncharacteristic. Maybe it's some real struggle that Jada has been going through, and it's been really hard for the family to see. They're like, I don't know. Who knows? But there is a war in Ukraine. Yeah. Why don't we focus on, oh God, it's just, I couldn't believe it, but it was funny as well. I went to the gym afterwards, and my gym played all the songs that Will Smith ever made. And I was like on the treadmill going, this is a Will Smith song. This is a Will Smith song. Like,
that's so funny. I actually really think though that we live in a cancel culture at the moment. Yeah. And I do think like, hey, this person snapped in a moment and everyone's just willing to cancel him. I also found it very funny that people went back 20 years to find Will Smith talking about, who was he talking about? Talking about making a joke about, what was it? Something else.
Isn't it? You can do 100. Yeah, if you do one bad thing, you get remembered and butchered for it. And even if you say sorry,
I also thought it was interesting because they went back all that time, and now they're like caught him out and being like, well, you can talk about these people. So it's like a double standard, Will Smith. No one smacked you when you made that comment, even though it's deeply offensive.
But he said sorry though. Why butcher him to the point where he can get to the
I 100% agree with you.
It's kind of like,
it's just
let them deal with it. Yeah. But they're just like, it was.
And also
like,
Chris Rock is like, oh, it's fine, don't press charges, everything. I just don't think at the Academy Awards, he just got out of control. He snapped. He went on stage defending his wife and he hit someone. Do I think that should be
And then
condemned?
he realized.
Yes, but do I think he should be cancelled? No.
No.
I think
This is
everyone
bad.
can make a
Violence is not
mistake.
the
Yeah.
answer. He knows as well. As soon as he did it, he's like, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
but
I actually thought it would have been better if he went up there and slipped as he went to.
Whoa.
It would have
like the Matrix, like. But it was just, it's interesting, like, even if you say sorry for doing something wrong, everyone's just like, no, blah, just all right.
I think we're the only people besides animals who basically replay stuff, really. It's pretty horrible.
Is it because we can't deal with what's happening with us that we project? It's kind of like high school shit, yeah? And you're just like, oh, those people are not popular. Let's make fun of them, when the real issue is you've got some issue. I don't know what that is. I
don't know either. It's very strange. I'm just all over the shop today. Where is it? Oh yeah, it's here. My phone's gonna die, viewers, so I've got to get this on. It's
you know what else is dramatic? The royal family.
Oh yes. On to our topic for today. I wanted to talk about a little bit first. Obviously, you know, these people murdered, their ancestors murdered the family, like the other royal family. It's been just basically a bloodbath, practically, for years and years and years. And these were the ones who basically, you know, ended up in power. But also, are they really in power because, you know, they get told what to say, what to do, and, you know, there's always someone behind the scenes. So, like, the biggest thing I wanted to say about today is, obviously, I'm not a monarchist. I believe it's very old, the idea of it, like these people are God's representatives on earth. I want to just cut that out. Don't believe in that. But I will say, the Queen, for having been born into this situation with the amount of pressure and everything, I think she's done an outstanding job of being able to cope in that spotlight at such a young age, especially the circumstances of her dad, the way she handles herself, the way she doesn't get too involved in any particular political stuff. She always tries to keep out of it and to be neutral. And
I think taxes though.
Yeah, that's true.
I like this debate. Like,
yeah, she doesn't though.
She doesn't pay her taxes. What are you talking about?
Yeah. But like, I think, like, can we blame the Queen when it's been generational that they never pay taxes?
Tell me one person that would be put in that. If someone was like, you don't have to pay taxes, tell me one person that would be willing to.
Totally. I want to quickly talk about, obviously, her son and the scandals around him.
Which scandal would you like to talk about?
I'd like to talk about the one with the child pedophilia and and how that just was able to be brought away and actual justice really with any of it. I think that's very concerning that we have one set of rules for people, another set of rules for other people based on who you are and your bloodline, I guess, who you sit in the hierarchy of monarchy, political people, well, people in positions of power, I guess, is the biggest way to describe that, the structure of power, and how, if you don't come from that, there are harder rules for you that, you can't pay your way out.
Here.
Anyway, you tell us about your stories now, because I know you're a big into it all.
I really was, isn't it? Like, to the point where I remember in like 2011, I became obsessed with like the Tutors, and that TV show, The Tutors, was around, and I'd be like, oh, that Henry guy, Henry VIII, what a shithead. Like, yeah, it was like, I think the biggest, like, the most interesting thing I found was when Anastasia, so the Russian Romanovs, were brutally murdered by the Bolsheviks. Basically, now it's come up like 100 years later that it was actually the Queen's grandfather, who was the king at the time. I think that was also King George, was the one who tipped the Bolsheviks off. But the catch about all of this is that the Romanovs were related to that side, like the English throne.
Yeah, he was trying to get his he was trying to get his cousin out, and they look so similar.
No, the girl, like the girl, yeah. And then they got brutally murdered, and it's just
they were trying to chip them off, but also there was a lot of Russian settlement in England, and they knew that if they helped them out, it would
lose our throne. Yeah.
But also possibly, it could have started, a big war.
They have like documentaries on this where there was like a moment.
How hard would that have been though? Like knowing that, hey, this is family, but also it's like, is it worth
when push comes to shove,
of people diving
so bad
for it? Yeah.
The way that it's portrayed like in history is basically the king at the time in Russia was not doing the right thing, but who the hell knows? Like I wasn't knocking about that time, but what a way to go.
Yeah.
What a way. But it's just, it's this family like has done, it's interesting though, if you come with good intentions in this world, could be the kindest person, automatically people out of jealousy, or I don't know what it is, are just like, nah, you're privileged. You have no right to whinge and complain. Like that's how it's like become with all of it. You can be genuine, or you could be a shithead, and then people will be like, oh yeah, it's because it's a prince. I found that type of like viewing where we see people, it's kind of like also on the level of, oh gosh, that person's really skinny, or that person's really smart, they've got no problem, so that gives them permission to be an asshole to them. You're like, oh, you're no matter what happens, like I can do anything to you, you'll still come out on top because you're better than me. It's that attitude. I always found that interesting.
I think though, like at the end of the day, if you did go to a private school, like, you had a leg up, obviously you are better than the other people,
I guess it's how you handle the situation, yeah?
Nah, I'm joking. Yeah. Obviously joking. I was trying to be like a debate.
Debate.
Privates, yeah. Being like, no,
assholes. What are you talking about?
They grow up to be rapists and murderers at public schools.
Terrible.
Yeah, totally terrible.
Yeah. I had this one girl, I remember, she went to a private school, Halebury, if people know in Melbourne. She used to come up to me and be like, I'm going to Halebury. And I used to be like, well, I'm going to Frangabanger, mate. Frankston.
Classic.
You just never know. It's how you apply yourself in this world, I guess. So.
Yeah.
Who knows? Just have a cup of tea. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
You'll get through it.
Yeah.
And if you're royalty, it's like you don't even need to.
It's more worrying, isn't it? More like if you've been caged up for so long and then you just then get a real sense of the world. I think that's more scarier, isn't it? It's like people that are highly controlled. When you let that cat out of the bag later on in life, they're kind of lost.
That's so true. I didn't think of it like that. There's that story on Queen Victoria who was like protected and she couldn't leave the place. She had to be walked around the entire mansion in case anything were to happen to her because of the threats and violence. And
you don't want that.
I found that really interesting as well because like a lot of people go, oh, well, she's the queen. Like it's like, but she didn't choose, but she didn't choose this. Like she was born into this.
That
and it's like she's known nothing different. Yeah.
I can't even imagine. It's like having a controlling family. And if don't marry that person, don't get involved, otherwise you're exiled. Like, and Of course, like naturally, a lot of people, unless you have a lot of courage and strength, will just walk away. Like it's just those, I don't know. You get dealt a few cards in this life, and it's either, I don't know whether it's good karma from a previous life or what happens, but
yeah,
you know, I think we have it quite easy compared to, like, we have our troubles, I must say, we do, but it's
speak
like,
for yourself, Jessica.
I'm fine.
I'm perfect.
What do you
I was
think?
born this way.
I was born this way. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's pain. Anyway.
Yeah. So basically, Jess, I think you're really wrong. I'm born this way, and yeah, I'm not gonna apologize. I'm gonna slap who I want to slap when I don't find them funny. Gonna call them out.
Yeah. Oh, it was brilliant.
Also, the argument with that as well is like, when is violence ever allowed?
It's true.
Because, like, look at the war at the moment. Well, that's justified, apparently.
The thing is, with human beings, there will always be racism, conflict, war. Every 50 years, there seems to be some sort of a war. It's just, I don't know, there's something with humans where probably aliens, if they do exist, have come to this earth and we're like, you know what? I'm just going to leave this be because they're just childish, and I'll just go to another galaxy where they're civilized. They just can't be bothered. That's why it's not been like an alien invasion, because they're just like, you know what? Nah.
Yeah.
Why not? We can't just all get along. You know?
I know, right?
And you know what it would be like? It's kind of like, were the hippies like vegans and all of that, like back in the day? I don't know. But since there's a lot of vegans now, I guess they would be the hippies of our generation if anything was to kick off. Well, I would be there too. I'd be like, no. But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Yeah, I know, right?
War. It's just, we've been through enough with COVID. Just leave me be.
Yeah, totally.
Did you hear about Dan Andrews? He has COVID.
Yeah, I did. It's actually quite interesting because at the moment, a few of my friends are stuck in ISO. Because if you're a close contact, you still have to isolate. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Even if you get a negative result, because it's like, oh, it's incubation or something. Yeah, so doesn't surprise me. The COVID's going to catch everyone. Doesn't matter if you're vaxxed. It gets you. It's going to come. It's a monster in the night.
Yeah.
It's going to creep under your doors.
What's that other flu? They have this other rapid flu. What's it called?
Rapid?
It's something flu, like some, I've forgotten for the life of me.
Influenza.
No, there's some, like, it's a fast type of flu that is now has like come to Melbourne or whatever, or to Australia. I'm sure the listeners know. It's been on the news where they say it really,
I don't watch the news. It's too depressing.
I don't know how news reporters do it, you know? I don't know how, do they get like a bonus for talking about the same stuff over and over again? I wonder.
I don't know. I don't even know how you would like it. It's telling people pretty miserable situations.
You can't
like
just
there's never like a good news story these days, or if there is, it's like a 2-minute one, and then the rest.
This
now
dog
we leave
made it alive. Yeah. This person got murdered in. Oh God, it's just so sad. Like,
yeah.
I kind of like being kept in the loop, but at the part of me is just like, I want to go rural and just get off social media and bugger all of this, you know? I used to have them in my old job come through like on the phones, and they used to be like, oh, so this COVID thing, this would be like 2 years into it, be like, this COVID thing, like what's the go of it? And then you'd be like, where are you located? It's like somewhere in like in the middle of Australia. I'm like, this is good. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. What is this COVID thing?
You look good. You look rested.
Oh, thank you. You look beautiful as always in your little, is that an Udi?
Yeah. Apparently
Yeah.
Kmart has like rip-off ones for $30, and I felt the
Oh,
quality. I'm like, not bad. But
not
it's
bad
not
for
Harry
30.
Potter, is it? Look at Hagrid. Look at him.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I only just realized what all those people are now. Is that Harry?
That's Harry. Where's Hermione?
Yeah.
And then
Mooney.
Ron is
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Ron.
Hi.
Yeah. So I don't know. The whole thing with royalty is I honestly feel like what you said. It's like everyone has their own problems, even the royals. They're human just like us, except they're just born into a high pressured family, really. Well, a more messed up family who killed other people in order to get positions of power.
Like, imagine, isn't it, if you thought your ancestors did that, but you can't think of it because your responsibility is in the present? Like, you can't think about
Yeah.
all of that. You'll actually be like, nah, stuff this.
And exactly how like Henry killed like the wife after wife after wife. And you're like, pretty brutal ancestry.
I was on TikTok the other day, and there's in England there's a certain cathedral, and like back in like the 11th century or something, and it was like the biggest cathedral ever made, like in Europe or something. It's like gigantic. But our mate Henry VIII, for whatever reason, some political situation, he goes and orders like the entire cathedral to be knocked down, and you're looking at pieces of rubble, but they're just showing like the magnitude of how big it was, and you're just like, it was so funny. The comments were just like, of course it was Henry VIII.
He had a very, very, I guess, kind of nasty streak.
But I wonder what you have to, because his daughter became that, like Mary, the bloody queen, like she just crucified people. And you make like, what part of your brain goes where you go off like that? You know, I don't know. There must be some tragic event where they just, I don't know.
Or maybe it was just like, I don't know, I guess when you've like had to get to that position of power, maybe there's genetics there that have made you a little bit more narcissistic and a little bit more controlling and like a bit more ruthless in how you're going to do everything. I think that's possibly it, because you've got to think about the violent history to get into that position of power. So I think that gets passed down from generation to generation. And I guess it's also fair, like who you surround yourself with is a generational thing. So maybe it was just taught time and time again. If you don't be strong, people like will take cycles. From you. Yeah.
It's like repeating generations.
It's like you've got to make them fear you, otherwise they'll come and they'll take it all from you.
And it will just go on and on and on. It takes a strong person to break the chain.
100%. I think is that 30?
That is 30.
Boo! Just like that, another episode done and dusted.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. And we'll see you for our 97th episode next week.
Bye.
Bye.